by Riverside.
And who's excited?
I am.
It's week 1, baby. The 4th and 1 podcast, Instagram at 4th and 1, coming to you live from Lancaster, Lidditz, and wherever the heck Roberto is. As always, it is your boy, Fancy Trash Can, Admiral You Like That, a.k.a. self-nickname, a.k.a. Beats by Dre. Sitting next to, as always, Captain Boring, a white guy's white guy. And joining us for the third week and a fourth week and a third, I don't remember how many weeks in a row. It is not CFB Insider Roberto, the walking... I already lost it. All right, we're moving on.
You know,
walking
it's not
contradiction.
You know, it's not CFP Insider, not CFB
I said
Insider.
CFB. I had called him CFP Insider for forever. Hence why I called him the walking contradiction.
Okay.
And I was going to
whatever.
say the carpet matches the drapes.
Amen, brother.
He needs to change his Instagram handle to not CFP Insider, Roberto, so that when I
It sounds
tag
like
him in
you're
stuff-
saying not CFP.
Yeah, I am saying not CFP because it's not.
No, that doesn't
college
make any sense.
Yes, it-
CFB is college
Oh my God.
football.
No, CFP College Football Playoff.
Right, but that nobody calls it.
Everyone calls it that.
No, everyone calls the playoff the CFP. No one calls college football as a whole the CFP.
Everyone
It's
calls it the
CFB.
CFP.
No.
No, you're
Robert?
right.
I mean, we could go CFB for college football, Bob.
Okay. All right.
There's your laugh track since you wanted me to click on stuff more.
Well, you know, if
All
you
right.
would just do your job, my dude.
Who enjoyed week 0?
It was all right.
Can use enjoyed pretty loosely.
Hey, that Vanderbilt Hawaii game, 2 things happened. First, it was a 1-score game.
Yeah, Hawaii
Did
covered.
not see that coming. Second of all, over our bets from last week, it had 3,000 more attendance than Jacksonville State versus UTEP.
So who was right again? Just so that we can all be clear.
Still didn't sell as many tickets as the MLS.
Still doesn't matter. I was right.
Okay.
No one cares about soccer.
I just can't. I don't have any words for you.
Yeah, well, because you're wrong.
All right. Well, we have a long week ahead. Obviously, this is coming out on Friday.
Thursday.
You're making me release this on Thursday?
I am making you release
Okay,
this
so
on
this
Thursday.
is coming out on Thursday
Yep.
because it is week 1 on Thursday. There's lots of good games. The one this weekend, the main one. This is why you don't drink carbonation and do a podcast. The main one being Utah, Florida, which I guess has not been getting the hype that everybody thought it should.
Well, everyone's really down on Florida. I guess most people think that roster is pretty bad. Roster's probably pretty average. I just thought that a lot of people are overhyping what Anthony Richardson did. I think a lot of people thought that Anthony Richardson pulled them along. I'm not of that mindset. I thought that he was one of the mediocre players on the roster. And I just think that Billy Napier, you see these coaches come in and have these mediocre first years, and then they will take off 9-10 wins their second season. So I think people are kind of undervaluing Florida a little bit, and I think it's going to be a big-time game.
Oh, okay. I was expecting Robert maybe to jump in there.
No.
It would
Nothing else to
would a good name for Saint would a good mascot for St. Francis's in PA be the Frankfurters? Because St. Frank. No.
Well, what is their mascot?
I have no idea. I was just trying to make a joke and saying, well,
I feel
right,
like that would be
well,
better with like the
I-
Foshnauts.
That's a good one.
That is
Yeah.
very good. St. Francis takes on Western Michigan in Kalamazoo. Obviously, probably Western
Nice.
Michigan is favored. That's 7 p.m. on ESPN Plus on Thursday.
Can we just talk about USC's defense real quick?
They gave up 28 points to a San Jose State team that is top table in their division.
I'm even more concerned of that. They allowed 7.3 yards per rush. It's one thing to allow the passing yards because they did blow them out by 32. It's another thing to allow 7.3 yards per rush to a team whose line of scrimmage should not dominate in that fashion. Like, it's not Michigan, it's not Georgia, it's not Ohio State. This is San Jose State, and USC's given up 7.3 yards of rush.
Is it really surprising, though? I mean, their defense last year was equally as bad, even though they didn't play as weak of a team. But, I mean, even when they played teams that weren't up to their caliber, they still really underperformed.
Sure, but I guess I just expected them to take a jump forward and at least them not be exposed in the first game of the season against San Jose State, right? Against Notre Dame, sure, 7.3 yards of rush first time they do it, right? But now it's first game right off the bat. Oh my gosh, they just can't even stop the run.
I mean, you want that, though. You want to be exposed in that first week against a weaker team because now that that's where you can work on instead of just absolutely demolish, like Notre Dame demolishing Navy. Navy doesn't know what their Notre Dame doesn't know what their weakness is yet. And when they run into a top team and you get exposed then, now you're in trouble.
Okay, so I'm going to follow up. I agree with that premise, but I'm going to follow up with this. How much faith do you have in Alex Grinch, the defensive coordinator, though, to fix this?
I will have more faith in him.
A white man.
When in their next game, I would have more faith in them if, even if it's only 4 yards to carry, that's still an improvement. But if the next team steps in there and it's still 7 yards, then it's like, okay, that we got an issue. A bigger issue.
I just think that Alex Grinch has been with Lincoln Riley, both at Oklahoma and now at USC. I think this is their fourth or fifth year together. Defense has not improved in the slightest. Change of venue, Southern Cal, middle of the United States, Oklahoma, California, Washington, wherever. Alex Grinch just isn't getting the job done. To me, I'm on red alert for USC's defense because the offense cannot. Eventually, they will run into a defense that can stop Caleb Williams at least enough, and they will go up against a running game that's going to control that clock. My panic level is super high if I'm a Trojan fan right now. And I know it's week 0, week 1, whatever. I'm through the roof with that. 7.3 yards week 1. Come on. It should be 4 yards a carry week 1 against San Jose State. Give me a break.
Ew, David.
So speaking of 7 point whatever yards a carry, I watched exactly the first 3 plays of the Notre Dame Navy game, and Notre Dame did exactly what they needed to do. They screwed Micaiah's betting line for the week.
Yeah,
they won by 42-3.
Yep.
Are you guys hearing that they're being overhyped now? Because the after report coverage seemed like to overhype them immediately.
I mean, it's hard to not overhype them right now because they were like the premier game for week 0. I mean, they did exactly what they were supposed to do. Granted, Navy's defense is blitz, and continue to blitz. So, I mean, Sam Hartman just had himself a field day. If anything, it puts Sam Hartman in essentially the Heisman race. But it's also hard to not look at them and go, yeah, that was a very dominant game, and they covered, which most teams usually don't when they play a lower tier team. But we're not going to know until they play either USC, Ohio State, or someone better on if they're legit or not.
I thought it was interesting. Notre Dame took care of business, but I thought it was interesting because everyone is overhyping Notre Dame. I think it's a little justified just because last year's Notre Dame problem was not the defense, was not the running game, was not the skill position on the outside. It was the inconsistency at quarterback play. And the fact that Sam Hartman, he didn't do anything special. Yeah, he threw for 4 touchdowns, but he didn't take over the game. Esme ran the football great. I mean, they probably had over 200 yards rushing. I didn't even know the stat. It doesn't even matter. They ran all over Navy. And then Hartman was just consistent. 4 touchdowns, like 263 yards, no interceptions. So are they overhyping Notre Dame a little bit? Yes, absolutely. But it's sort of deserved because last year's problem was quarterback, and they got a consistent quarterback.
Hi, I'm Paul.
Yeah,
I
that
like
one
that
was just
one.
random.
That
I did
one's
that-
my favorite.
I did that one incorrectly. Notre Dame takes on Tennessee State this weekend, 3:30 NBC. No one's going to watch that. And USC takes on Nevada for their Week 1 matchups. Before we get on the remaining of the game, talking about them, the big games, the small games,
Again, humans are pretty dumb.
just the dumb games. I want to talk about the other thing that we've been talking about on our text thread, which is legacy and legacy programs as a whole. Now, before we all start here, as I see both of you gearing up, we do post this on YouTube. Please do not get us demonetized. And by that I mean like struck or taken down. So when we talk about Penn State, spoiler alert, use different language. So, Robert, did you send us this?
Yes.
One of Robert's memes that he sends us throughout the week was a list of overall programs. Where did it go? I don't know where it went.
Y'all find it good.
All right, of overall programs of like top programs of all time, basically franchises. With, am I misrepresenting
it's
it?
top. It's the so ESPN Stats and Info did this for the 150th year. I remember seeing this, but it's kind of circling back up at the start of the college football season. So it's ESPN Stats and Info, top 10 programs, or they did a top 50 programs all time, but this is their top 10. Alabama Crimson Tide at 1. It goes 1 to 10. Alabama, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oklahoma, USC, Michigan, Yale, Nebraska, Texas, and then North Dakota State. And Robert has a problem with Alabama being 1 and no Penn State being on the list. That led to some other conversations that we will not get into on...
Oh, no, we're going to get into them for sure. Here's the question that I'm going to pose to you, as I already slightly posed to it, as well as the listeners. My point was Alabama shouldn't be high on the list because they didn't allow black students in until the late 70s. Mostly because USC, so actually you can thank UFC. Maybe that's a tick mark in the direction. And that USC shouldn't be as high on the list because O.J. Simpson allegedly, as Robert pointed out, murdered 2 people. My question is because they helped Alabama, this is totally different, because they helped Alabama integrate, therefore ending racism for all in Alabama for sure. Totally, they did that. Because they have their best player of all time allegedly murdered 2 people and had a really dope car when doing it. Does that detract or add to their legacy? Because I started to think about it. I think it actually adds to their legacy.
Well, I think that you thinking OJ is better than Reggie Bush is a whole nother argument right now.
Well, who did more in their professional career after the match?
Doesn't matter. Who did more in their collegiate career?
Listen, I can go over stats, but the fact that you have 2 kills on your stat board
Stop
makes
it.
you a better person.
I think it makes you a worse
It
person.
makes it worse person. Oh, I'm just saying, like, as far as
Statistically
stats
speaking,
go. Yeah. Reggie Bush has no murders.
It gives you more ammo, no pun intended. I mean, obviously, I think doing something bad always will hurt your legacy. However, it does make colleges more well known when something bad happens in relation to that school. My biggest problem is that OJ's incident was well after his professional career, so he was long after his college career, right?
Sure.
And then you were getting into the different legacies between Penn State with what happened there with
Right.
Sandusky, and then you were comparing it and you were saying kind of what impacts it more. I think that Sandusky, just because that was more recent, it impacts Penn State's legacy way more, either for good or bad, however you want to look at it, way more than USC.
My question being, and I'm kind of wanting, yeah, good. I see Robert's ready. My question being is, right, the Sandusky happened, Sandusky during the time where he was coaching. And it came to know that Joe Pa knew about it and did nothing. And Joe Pa is, because he coached them since he was 3 till he was 150, he is Penn State's legacy. So does that affect, I'm assuming it affects Joe Pa's legacy, therefore affecting Penn State's legacy?
yeah, I mean, the only time anyone ever talks about Penn State and how when Penn State was like really good, Joe Pa was the coach. So when you have something as big as what that was happen under his watch and then know about it but not report it, it's one of the things where I don't think it necessarily hurt Penn State as much as what you would expect. I mean, it hurt the coaching staff and it hurt their reputation, hurt Joe Pa's reputation, and obviously hurt Sandusky's reputation, considering he's the one who did it. But I mean, it obviously didn't hurt Penn State too much because the NCAA was very quickly able to reinstate everything, and it was just kind of like a brushed off.
So, per usual, the NCAA is the evil one here?
I mean, I would.
The NCAA is I will use a Reese Davis term. They're ungood. Okay, they are ungood.
I forgot I left this little sound bites at the end of that one. On a more happy note, Robert,
Dude, who has a
Engines
supercar?
reps-
Yeah, nice.
Williamstown, Pennsylvania, baby.
Hey, and I think we get an A+ for navigating that topic in a much better manner than we did over text message.
Yes.
we had a lot more fun over text messages,
Yeah,
shall
well,
we say.
It didn't turn out good for you,
So
though.
go ahead, gentlemen, and pull up. No, it did not turn out good for me. Go ahead and pull up the schedule for this week. I'm feeling we're going to need a good 40-ish minutes to talk about this. Because the first question I want to ask you is, with all the good games that we have on the list, or good-ish games, and of course the only one I can think of right now is Utah, Florida. What is the worst game that you are seeing on the list so far?
What?
Yeah, I'm asking you the opposite
We already
question.
covered that.
What kind of question is it? Okay, well, Rhode Island and Georgia State, St. Francis versus Western Michigan. I
No.
mean, just to name a few.
Don't do it, Robert. I know what
Nope.
you're about to do. Don't do it.
Friday night, 11 p.m.
Okay. Never mind.
Stanford,
Hawaii versus Stanford.
There's no way Stanford and Hawaii is worse than Howard at Eastern Michigan.
Yes,
don't
it
you
is,
stay up and
because
let me
Howard
know?
Howard at Eastern Michigan is
No,
on at 6:30 p.m.
Okay, it doesn't matter when the game's
And I
on,
can
though.
watch
It's the
that game.
quality of game that I'm getting.
I will
you're-
have my phone right next to me waiting for that 3 a.m. text message saying Stanford and Hawaii was a barn burner.
Well, but
it-
I will have my phone on me at 9 p.m. when you get back to me that Eastern Michigan and Howard was an awesome game of the year situation.
You tell me what channel it's on, bud. You
It's
got
on
it.
ESPN Plus, and
got it.
you have to watch more than an hour and a half of that game. More than
do
an
it.
hour and a half for this to count. There ain't no way. And I'm
Guys-
talking only game on the television.
got it.
The Miami Squared is happening at 7 p.m., so that's going to be hard. Somehow tickets are as low as $7. Hawaii Stanford -3.5. Go ahead, Robert. Sorry.
Did you see? I think it was the quarterback for Miami, Ohio, has proclaimed that we will see who the real Miami is.
Dude, listen.
Right?
Listen, Miami of Ohio's getting a lot of hype week 1 against Miami from everybody, as in they might be able to do this. It's only 14.5 points, the spread that is. I think
I'm
Miami
seeing
takes care of
16.5
business.
now.
Like, come on. Mario Cristobal can't let the U do that, Kenny.
I was thinking of taking the Red Hawks for that exact reason in our little bet segment that we're going to do later. The Red Hawks plus the points, is that the correct way of saying that? I always say it wrong.
Yes. Oh, he finally did it, ladies and gentlemen. He learned how to do it.
Danger.
But I didn't, because I found a much better one that's going to piss you guys off.
Well, did you find 3, not just 1?
Yes.
Oh, dude, this would not be the first time I've asked you to do something and you didn't do
Dude,
it.
I
So
prepared for today. Listen,
you, though?
I had intros ready. I biffed. That's not a word. I whiffed on the intros. That's my fault, but I had them ready. I made bets. I talked smack. What game that we haven't talked about are you guys excited for?
I honestly am excited for TCU Colorado. Just to see how this thing gets started. Like, you know, Dion
22.5.
Dion talking all off season. It's like 2 heavyweight boxers. It's like, just shut up. No one cares. Go on the go in the ring and box, right? So I'm just excited to see. I think that Colorado will be better than the 3.5 wins they're projected. Robert thinks they're worse, so you know there's that dynamic going into it. And then also in a game that no one else is talking about, I was getting 25 points hosting Utah State.
It's Utah State.
Yeah, that's a lot of points for Iowa, who over the last 2 years has not been able
Has basically scored 20.5
has
points.
been ungood on offense.
I don't think Cade's playing either.
Exactly.
Yikes. Robert, what are your games that you're looking out for?
Boise State at Washington.
Oh, that's a good one.
Ooh.
Very well could
sorry,
turn into something.
the TCU Colorado game is 12 p.m. on Fox. I'm giving these people this information because they're going to want to watch these games.
Listen,
Boise State,
Go ahead.
Washington. Do you think that's going to be a shootout, or do you think it's going to be like? What are you seeing? I would assume it's a shootout because it's week 1.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say it's just a shootout, just because I think Michael Penix is going to do what Michael Penix does, which is spin the proverbial bean and just light up that defense. And I think it's going to be interesting to see if Washington's defense can stand up to. They're not going to be as good as a passing offense, but an offense who also is going to be throwing the ball around.
So you don't get a lot of week 1 games that truly, when you dig deep enough, impact New Year's 6 college football playoff. You got it in this game. New Year's 6 for Boise State. Their over-under win total is like 9.5. So you're at 10 wins. You're probably in great position. And then Washington, they're ranked 10th right now. They're in great position, but they got a tough game against Boise. here. They lose that one. It kind of sets them behind the 8 ball just for the college football playoff down the road.
That's a 3:30 p.m. ABC game. Fun fact about Husky Stadium. It is larger than former CenturyLink Loomis or something like that field. So it makes them one of the only college teams that has a larger stadium than the pro one in the same city.
Can we just that is a fun fact. Before we move on to whatever Admiral you like that had in store next, I just want to, we are all Michigan fans. Yes, everyone knows this. If you don't, welcome to the podcast. We're big Michigan fans. Over under right now is 36. No, you like that? You like that? No Sharon Moore. No Jim Harbaugh. 36 against Eastern Carolina. Michigan covers. Let's go round robin. Simeon, we'll start with you, Robert, then me. Michigan covers, yes or no?
Yes, because they have the future Heisman winner, J.J. McCarthy.
No, I think this is their slow start game. Start slow and just kind of like toy around with it until they kind of.
I think Eastern Carolina actually, they could be 9-4, 4-8 type of season. I think I don't think they cover, but I do think it's a 24+ point victory.
I think that's fair. Who is Texas playing?
Rice.
Rice.
Oh, I was hoping I could play. Gotta love that. That's aged extremely well. What about this Florida State LSU game on Sunday? I think this is the game of the weekend, is it not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so on paper, it's the game of the weekend, right? You could, I mean, Auburn and UMass could be the game of the weekend. You know, that could
UMass 1-0.
And they scored a lot of points, UMass
That was
did.
That was their first road win in 25 games. They had gone at least 2.5 seasons without winning a game on the road, let alone winning a game.
Yeah, they've been bad for a long time. So, Robert, I'm going to kick it to you then. Listen, talk about college football playoff week 1 implications. You got it right here. You got Heisman implications for both quarterbacks, both sides. You have jobs on the line if you're Florida State. If they have only a 9-3 year, does he stay around at Florida State? Not quite sure about that. And LSU, they finished really hot down the stretch, and this was a great game last year as well.
Do we think this game's going to end as like a 14-13, 14-10 game?
It could.
I mean, offensively, yeah, both teams are good. But Florida State has Jared Verse coming off the edge, who did not go to the NFL draft, who very well could have been a top 10 pick last year, and decided to come back and is like a man among boys out there. So this very well could be a very low scoring game.
Youths.
It's a game that honestly I think is going to either sculpt or destroy a team.
So you
don't know which one.
So you think the loser of this, what, 8-4, 9-3, or worse than that this year?
I'm confident at it like an 8-4.
So loser of this game, you think goes 8-4?
If you are LSU and you lose this game, and then you still have the rest of the SEC schedule, you almost have the same exact thing as last year.
And
That's
this
a hot
LSU's
take right there.
best chance to win a natty since Burrow, but that wasn't that long ago. But like that Burrow season was like no one was expecting them to win, even though talent-wise they had the best team in the NCAA that year. So this is really, since if you remove that year, this is the most they've been expected to win. They're ranked 5th overall right now.
Yeah, they weren't ranked that high in the Burrow year. And again, you got to remember that LSU Burrow team was known under Ed Ogeron for underperforming.
Yeah.
Like, Ed Ogeron had one good year at LSU, and that's it.
And you won the Natty. You have to, as LSU, this has to be an LSU win. And it has to be a win. It has to be a 14-point win.
It's a better. It's
no
a,
garbage touchdown at the end. And if you're Florida State, you obviously want it to win for a different reason. But, like, this is going to set up your season as Florida State. This will set the tone for your opponent, who has the Monday night game against Duke. It sets the tone for the ACC of we're here to play, and we're going for not just the ACC, we're going for that natty because we beat LSU.
Robert, would you agree that a LSU loss it hurts them, but if Florida State has a close loss, it's actually a win for them?
Yeah. I mean, if Florida State loses and it's close, that helps them a lot more just because the only other, I think, ranked team on their schedule right now is Clemson, and it's not until way at the end of the year. So a lot could change in between it, but right now, losing close is definitely a win.
So you're wrong. They have Clemson in 3 weeks.
I was through without the end of the year. It's like the same thing for them.
I thought it was too, because normally they play them at the end of the year.
Is anyone else hearing sneaky good things from Duke?
No,
Mm-hmm.
but then again, I don't pay attention to things.
The powers that I listen to and I get all my info from are hearing good things out of Duke and Mike Elko and Riley Leonard, the quarterback. All I'm saying is that Monday night game that we all just like, oh, that's a 49-point win. I'm not saying
I didn't
it won't
say that.
I won't. Well, okay. Everyone saying that, including me. All I'm saying is maybe I was wrong, and it might be a game at least for a half. I mean, the spread's only 13. Normally the Clemson-Duke spread, right? Right, Robert? Normally the Clemson-Duke spread is at least 30, 35 points.
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard for me to sit here and go, Duke.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. Yeah.
It's like, Duke's been good like once out of like maybe 10. It's just to start off with a team like Clemson, unless Clemson just really fumbles the bag early and really starts slow, and Klubnik's just not clicking, and
I do get that.
That's hard.
Who's getting up for Northwestern Rutgers?
Whoever goes to Northwestern and Rutgers, I mean.
But even then, come on, you can't tell me Rutgers.
I mean, I'm
the
gonna
Rutgers
have the
fans
game.
are.
I'm gonna have the game on.
I'm not going to listen, but it'll be on.
Would you rather watch San Jose State, Oregon State, for your much overhyped DJ Uiagalelei?
Yeah, I would.
With how they played USC, I mean, that could.
That's what I'm saying.
Right, it could be an upset. It could be an upset. I don't understand this hype around the guy who couldn't cut it at Clemson. So we put him on the West Coast, and all of a sudden he's gonna be the savior of the Beavers.
Here's the thing.
Go ahead.
If Clemson gets a freshman quarterback, you might as well write Klubnik off. Because they did it with Trevor, DJ. Don't be surprised if they have a 5-star freshman who does it to Klubnik.
Here's my thing, though. Simeon, you're not listening. The Clemson system that was in place required the quarterback to run the football for him to be successful. It opened up the rest of the offense. The Clemson offensive line is not good enough to support a straight-out running game like Michigan's offensive line, Georgia's offensive line. So the fact DJ did not want to run and was so unwilling to run the football hurt the offense, which hurts the passing game. Oregon State doesn't need him to run. Oregon State has 2,000-yard rushers in their backfield and an NFL offensive line, or talent on that offensive line. They need him to sit in the pocket and throw the football, which he can do.
Is Will Shipley still there?
Will Shipley is still at Clemson, not Oregon State. Yes.
Oh, he's turning into like a.
Is that just sirens behind you?
No, I moved my phone and it
Whoa.
squeaked.
What do you mean Will Shipley's turning into whatever you mumbled?
He's turning into who's the Penn State quarterback that was there for 15 years?
He's only been there. He started as a freshman. He's only been there 3 years.
Sean something?
I feel like he's been there forever.
Dude, he really hasn't. This is his
That's
third
like Bo
year.
Nix, man. Bo Nix has real estate in Oregon somewhere.
Well,
probably because
I
the booster
felt-
gave it to
I
him.
also felt
Yeah,
the
it's
way
true.
the same thing about Travis Etienne, but it's just because they start as true freshmen, and we're so used to college players deucing after 2 years that when they're there for a third year, you're like, oh my gosh, you know who's still playing football? JT Daniels at Rice. I found out today.
That's the dude that I was thinking of the other week.
Oh,
He's
good.
been at like 4 schools now.
So Simeon Brain unlags a week later, ladies and gentlemen. He has been Simeon, you're exactly right. He has started at 4 different schools: USC, Georgia, West Virginia,
and Rice.
And Rice. Yep.
What?
He's a
What?
journeyman.
And Simeon, to answer your question, I'm more excited about Northwestern and Rutgers than I am Eastern Michigan and whoever and Howard. Come on.
Okay, that was not the question. My question is, what is your favorite worst game? And clearly yours is Rutgers Northwestern, or the JV squad for Northwestern, a.k.a. a bunch of white guys who couldn't cut it on other teams.
A white man? No.
I could. Oh, it was right here.
White man? No! Well, what does security do about it?
Nothing.
Typical!
Well, in Northwestern's case, no, security didn't do anything about it.
Hey, we're missing one game. It is the return of the Big Ten on the National Broadcasting Company. That's right, it's not Notre Dame. It is Penn State taking on West Virginia in whatever they call. Oh, they don't have a name for this rivalry game because it's not one and it's stupid and you're grasping at straws. But the point being, Micaiah, you talked pretty highly of West Virginia.
Okay, this is the perfect year for Neil Brown, head coach, West Virginia. I just think that there has been a trend in my viewing history of college football where teams stink, and then just pop off out of nowhere. And all I'm saying is no one's predicting West Virginia to be any good. West Virginia really hasn't been great under Neil Brown, but he had a couple great Troy teams. If they go and they beat Penn State on the road week 1, first of all, really damaging to Penn State. Second of all, West Virginia might be a team that we got to look out for in the Big 12. That's all I'm saying.
That was my bet pick.
Oh!
Well, that's a perfectly good transition over, and I need this other one.
Money, please.
Micaiah hit us up yesterday or this morning. I don't remember when it was. He asked us to make 3 bets for this weekend. He did not specify if they were team bets. He did not specify if they were player bets. I made all team bets. I also took Georgia 12.5. I took the over for speeding tickets for their players.
There it is.
For this year, so we'll see if that pans out. And I'm starting that after game number 1. Obviously, they would already be there if it was actually the year of 2023. Since you said it was one of your picks, Robert, give us the actual pick and why you picked it.
Simeon, keep track of this on the doc.
Yes, sir.
So I took West Virginia. I just took them outright.
You
I
took
just-
what?
Outright, the money line?
Oh no, not the money line.
Oh, Simeon, you're 2 for 2. Listen, he never gets this right. He never gets betting terms right. Bud, you're 2 for 2. Woo!
So not the money line. So you're just
No.
taking them, but you're taking them outright. I don't understand.
So you.
So you're taking
West Virginia plus
up.
20.
Okay, there it is.
Yeah.
All right. There we go. But I love.
I don't do
plus-
much betting.
Yeah.
Plus how much?
20 and a
20 and a
half.
half.
I heard 2.5, and I'm like, sir, that is not what they are getting.
Robert got ripped off. Listen, Robert is the new. So now here we go. There is a true freshman behind Simeon with betting terms, and Robert's going to try to take over that for Simeon. No, Robert, we'll teach you by the end of this year. We'll
I can
get you
say
learned.
buckle up.
We'll take Pat McAfee's FanDuel money because that's what we use. Not sponsored, but should be a sponsor. We'll
Yeah.
take the money.
Yeah.
They want to give it to us. It will become a better podcast overnight if you were to give us that bag. Okay, let me pull up mine. Mine are interesting, and I'm not giving you the one that's going to piss you off, but I did pick a very fun one.
Are we just
and
doing
that is
one each?
yeah.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
We'll snake it, and that is Hawaii plus the points.
Come on.
Oh!
That's what I took.
What is
I think
is
they're
it?
getting 3.5. I'm trying to
Okay.
confirm that right now.
It's 3.5.
All right. Listen, we almost had a triple because I almost also took Hawaii plus the points. However, I did not.
No. Okay, good news, Robert. I took them straight up.
Oh, okay.
I took them to upset the Stanford Cardinals, which we found out is named after the color, not the bird.
Dumb.
Their mascot is still a tree, though. So, confusing.
All right.
Not overall good. Listen, 3.5 points. If that's what you're at, they looked really good against Vanderbilt. I don't see any reason why they can't pull off an upset. It's at home opener. It just makes sense to me.
This is some of the best analytical podcasting Simeon's ever done. It only took him 4 years, 3 years, however long we've been doing this, but he's cooking. He's hitting his sweet spot. All right, my turn. This is one that should not shock anyone. I took Colorado plus the 20.5 against TCU. I think Dion's going to get his team all fired up on the road. I think TCU is highly overrated after losing literally every ounce of production they had last year. Their defense is bad. They walk into Fort Worth, and I don't know if they win, but they cover.
You know, I thought before Robert makes his sassy comments, I thought you guys were going to hate me because I took this pick as well. Exactly. Colorado plus 20.5.
I'm just looking for a new one because you guys just took the one I had. So
Wait, you also took Colorado plus 20.5?
yes.
Dude! Trifecta!
Gonna
We
put
did, ladies
another
and
one
gentlemen, we didn't talk about this at all. So, Simeon, you revealed now 2 out of your 3. What's your third?
My third one is this one is there's no way you guys picked it. It is Kent State plus the points.
Oh, yeah. No, okay. And what
Plus
is it?
36.5
Against-
against Central Florida. Kent State, this is 2 years removed of
Wow.
a division winning. They went 500 last year. It doesn't make sense. Central Florida is not that good. Like, they're good. They're just not that good. So, this is the first year in the Big 12 for Central Florida, too?
They did lose their head coach to Colorado.
Central Florida?
No, Kent State.
Kent State? Probably what they need. It's 36.5. 36.5.
That's a lot of points.
It's not. This isn't. I don't know. Insert air raid system here, team. This is UCF. One of the worst. What's the word I always call Florida schools? They don't have worst discipline teams.
Yeah.
I would put money on that they were the most penalized team last year. I just remember seeing a lot of yellow. So I'm just saying 36.5, probably doable. And I got to pick another one. Micaiah, do you have something else?
I mean, you don't have to pick another one.
No, we can't do.
Okay.
We have 15 minutes left.
All
we
right.
all picked the same bets.
Well, guys, that's just how people know they should bet on it because we're college football geniuses. All right, my next one, UTSA are getting 1.5. So that means they got to win by 2 or more. They are on the road. Frank Harris, their quarterback, been there 6 years now. Got LASIK eye surgery in the offseason.
One could call him Frankie Lasers.
Frankie Lasers got that LASIK in the offseason. They're on the road. Houston also lost a bunch of offensive production. I like UTSA. Back-to-back Conference USA champs going for that American title this year.
That's a great. You took them. You took them plus the points.
No. So I'm getting 1.5, or I'm taking the minus the points there.
Taking the minus the points
Yeah.
technically. These are some interesting games.
Robert, did you find another one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, South Carolina plus 2.5.
Oh, not a big North Carolina fan. Okay. Well, Robert, I'm going to disagree with you. I took North Carolina minus the 2.5. Give me Drake May. I think he's a better quarterback than Spencer Rattler. Who has better... I almost took the over for this game. It was like 64.5. There's going to be no defense in this game. Come on. This isn't going to be Georgia Clemson from a few years ago in this Mayo Bowl that they play. North Carolina's good early, really bad late in the season. I think that trend continues this year. So give me North Carolina minus the 2.5.
Give me North Texas minus 6.5. Well, technically plus 6.5. They're not favored.
Okay.
Against Cal. This is a mighty Mean Green team that in 2022 went 7-7, 6-2 UTSA. Only lost, came in second to UTSA against the Cal Bears team that literally I don't think has actually played football for years. So I don't understand how this is only at 6.5. I don't know the Mean Green at all, but you guys will remember from last season, I bet on all the group of 6 teams, and I had a pretty darn good record if you pick the games individually. So, all I'm saying.
Not bad. Not bad. Don't hate it. Cal does know how to play a little bit of defense. So, yeah, everyone take Colorado plus the points. And take Hawaii, apparently, plus the points as well, since we had 2 out of the 3 agree on that. And Simeon picked them outright. And then I had UTSA minus 1.5 and North Carolina minus 2.5.
Yo, Clemson's only getting 12.5 points over Duke.
That's what I'm saying. That someone's buying into Duke as well in Vegas.
Oh, that is. Oh no, that's next week. Boo. I forgot Texas. I got really excited. Texas, Alabama. Thought that was this week, and I came in my pants a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh my gosh.
Do you know how? I know this is looking 2 weeks, and we'll talk about it more next week after we have like a game under our belt, right? Alabama's probably playing some cupcake. Texas is playing Rice. JT Daniels' 6th team, where he will probably fail as well. However, the Rice team not half bad last year, from what I remember. I completely whiffed on it. Oh, we're gonna see what we're gonna see what they have, and I think that's gonna be like we're gonna know how Quinn Ewers looks, and if Quinn Ewers looks like he did before he got injured in the Alabama game, look out.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree.
Wow.
It
Great podcasting, guys.
Hey, preaching to the
What do you
choir.
want? Yeah. You know,
I guess that's the issue.
Just don't have your hopes up to see Manning.
I don't. Do you think he's going to transfer at the end of the year, Robert?
I think so. He's a third-string quarterback.
is he though?
Yeah,
That's what they've been saying. Yeah.
he's third on the depth chart.
Okay, but he's also a true freshman. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and
I don't.
Sark has said that he has seen more from the second string than Manning. That's why, obviously, he's second, and which
Yeah,
also
I mean,
it should make sense. But
I mean, I don't know. I could see him transferring either to Tennessee, where it's a more quarterback-friendly system, or Ole Miss, just because that's where his uncles are from. And the family's also from Ole Miss, mostly. So I could just see him transferring because of, transfer portal, him not getting playing time. I just have a hard time seeing him not developing into something based on his family lineage. Like, he's going to complain to his uncles that he's not seeing playing time, and Peyton and Eli are going to be like, well, get in the fucking film room then. Sorry, Mom. But they're going to be like, get in the film room. Yeah, I mean, come on. They're going to make him work for it. They're not just going to hand him the starting job. Yeah, a little late there, bud.
I had to find it, okay? Listen, they're not on a nice little board here for me. Calm down.
Well, whose fault is that?
Hey, do you remember Major Applewhite?
Number Major Booty.
The offensive coordinator who was under Mark Herman at Houston.
I think so.
Yeah,
he
then
became the head coach.
I'm right.
And then got fired and went to Alabama.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. He's the offensive coordinator for South Alabama now, who's taking on Tulane, the defending American champions, currently ranked 24. Tulane is getting 6.5 over them. I'm bringing this up because South Alabama Jaguars, not the Polar Bears. Yes, they are USA, though. Yeah. Went 10-3, 7-1 in the Sun Belt last year. And they had a wide receiver drafted. Look at that. Anyway, that is huge. Yay! And probably is going to be a good game. Again, looking out for the little guy. You got to watch the small games sometimes. I watched the IMG Academy St. Joe's Prep game a little bit on Saturday evening.
Can we just circle back to Robert? You taking West Virginia plus the points, right?
Yeah.
You want to dive into why you're taking them plus the points for the listeners?
I just don't like Penn State.
But
A white man!
I just think Penn State's going to start off slow. The run game is obviously going to be there, but Drew Allar, I think later on in the season is going to be he's going to progress a lot, but I think in this early portion of the year they're going to struggle with him. I don't think the timing is going to be there. I think it's just going to be James Franklin trying to figure out how to James Franklin this game. And I just think if you let West Virginia get on you and let them...
I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellent.
It's James Franklin.
If West Virginia can stick around and keep it close, I think they can actually... I think Penn State, of anyone, is probably the closest to being on upset alert.
What? Why did you have to play that soundbite in the middle of his analysis? Why couldn't you wait until the end?
It's such the Ricky Bobby thing to do. And honestly, is James Franklin not...
Well, Dak, here's the deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellent.
I mean, no, you're not exactly
James
wrong.
Franklin is that, and Jim Harbaugh is...
I'd like to take this chance to apologize.
Yeah.
Absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the he wants.
Yeah, no, you did nail it with those two sound bites and those two coaches. So congratulations. All I'm asking for is a little courtesy with when you play him. Stop.
No one cares.
We've given him too much power, ladies and gentlemen.
Listen, man, I'm trying.
Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
I feel 40. My back hurts
Your back hurts from carrying this podcast.
from carrying this podcast.
We're going to leave while we're ahead, which, isn't. Guys, listen, enjoy your college football weekend.
Wash your hands, you filthy animals. Enjoy your college football Saturday.